Welcome everyone to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I'm your host, the dad bod god, the bald, the beard, and the fucking beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight I've got a really fun guest on, my friend Jay Stevens. They are a professional wrestling referee. They're also one of the minds behind Deathmatch Down Under, one of the hottest Australian pro wrestling companies in the country and the world, believe it or not. But before I bring out Jay, let's get in and thank one of our amazing sponsors, and that is Sleefs.com. That's SLEEFS, Sleefs.com. If you or someone you know is an athlete, need to go and check out Sleefs. They've got all your athletic wear and gear covered. They've got armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, headbands, boots, mouth guards, and they've even got dirty boxes. And I've got to tell you, these dirty boxes are the most comfortable boxes that I own. They stay dry, they stay fresh, and they've got funky designs on the front that you will be impressed with. So go check out sleeps.com. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Guys, wherever you are finding us, please click like, share, subscribe, all of that good shit. If you're listening on a podcast platform, please give us a 5-star review. I appreciate it. It helps us bring more great, amazing content to more great, amazing people. But speaking about great, amazing people, let's get into my conversation with Jay fucking Stevens. Yeah. And we're live, baby, live. Jay,
live. Piers, how are you doing, my good friend?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm very good. I have a bottle of 2022, good vintage, Pinot Noir.
Very good. And
I'm looking forward to shooting the goddamn shit with you, my friend.
I am. I'm actually drinking a Diet Coke because I have felt a little bit unwell today. But I'm very much looking forward to our conversation because we were just talking before and I was saying it like anytime I get to catch up with you and talk, it's always great. It's always great conversation. And I always think, man, I really want to get this on pod. Like we always need to have these conversations on podcasts because there's always such amazing things coming out. So many funny stories. But thank you.
We nearly started doing the podcast while we were offline anyway, so we may as well continue on, shan't we?
Exactly. Deathmatch Down Under. You guys, everyone there has done some amazing work, and bringing out the ICW crew as well, and doing some joint shows with them. Joel going over there and absolutely killing it. I think dmdu since the start in 2020. You guys kicked off in a year which was a lockdown year, and
we kicked off with a no ring show at the start of March 13, and then the entire country locked down on March 15. So the entire rest of that year was spent putting together Deathmatch Down Under, and as you now sort of see it, I guess. Yeah, it's been a time.
But
We're 18 months into the actual thing itself. So
it's crazy to see like how far DMDU has come like so quickly, right? Because through everything, like you hit the ground running. The shows that you've put on have been absolute amazing bangers. Bringing in talent from around Australia as well. But also, like, one thing that I really enjoyed was that you're also bringing in some talent that's not necessarily had the opportunity to be on other platforms. Like Kyla Knight, for example. That's how I first discovered her, was through DMDU.
she's
Incredible
incredible.
talent.
She
Incredible
is. And she's come so far, even in just the last 6 months. Like, we had her on a show in July, but we'd also had her in a show earlier this year, one of our little kindred shows that we do, and just even the difference between there and last month, just insane. She's just such a phenomenal rookie. I don't know if you can really even call her a rookie now. She's fantastic though. She's really, really, really good.
Yeah,
We've been really lucky. Yeah, she is. And once you get her going, talking about wrestling and stuff like that, she doesn't stop. But yeah, she's fantastic. And we have been so blessed with the talent that have come to work with us. It's we've been really lucky. It's one thing for us to say, like, we've put on shows, and you to say, and I thank you, and that's very, very lovely for you to say that we've had bangers and stuff like that. But none of our shows would be anything without some of the talent that we've brought through. And there's people who are on our shows right now who a year and a half ago, they were just either just rookies or just breaking into the business, or, as you said, they've just been working in sort of, little indies that are around regional New South Wales and places like that, and they haven't had that opportunity to travel and go and work somewhere else. And now we see some people like Rochelle Rogue. Like, Rochelle, like, from your work with FWA. She's fantastic. Yeah. What an amazing talent.
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, one of my favorite performers in the country is Rochelle. I think she's very underrated.
Yep.
And I think she is amazing in the ring, and her character work is great.
I absolutely agree. And I love that she's being given all the opportunities that she's being given right now. And not just with us, obviously. There's a whole bunch of different promotions that are using her really well now. And I just love her. I think that she's great. And one of the people that I look to as the future of wrestling in this country.
Oh, and you're speaking of future of wrestling in this country, Kid Valiant as well.
You know what I mean? You can't say Rochelle Rogue without saying Kid Valiant in the next sentence, can you?
Well, no, exactly not. But that's the thing. Both of them, such wonderful people.
Oh yeah,
an absolute pleasure to be around. So respectful, so cool as well. And it's like they come across so much more mature than their age. If that, you know what I mean? Like,
Kid Valiant himself is, exactly the same as Rochelle in terms of being so generous with their time and all that sort of stuff. Would literally give you the shirt off his back. Not that you'd wear it because it's probably an awful color and an awful design, but he would literally give. Well, yeah.
For me, I mean.
But yeah, they're two people definitely over the last 18 months that. Like, Kid Valiant was not even 18 when we ran our first show. So we didn't use him on our first show. He'd been working underage with a couple of local indies in Melbourne. And as soon as he turned 18, we were like, we've got to have this kid. We've got to have this kid. And he was like behind the mask and doing all that stuff. I think he was like really hamstrung behind the mask, to be honest with you, Piers. Like, he's such a good promo. He's so expressive with his face. And he obviously a fantastic worker. So seeing him sort of, he lost the mask to Jake Navarre and seeing, how much he's matured since then and how he's taken that sort of the loss of the mask and really created this Kid Valiant persona. It's, I'm so proud of him. So proud of him.
Yeah, I mean, well, putting the DMDU heavyweight title on him as well was such a massive spotlight on him. And yeah,
He did that himself.
even
Are we
though he,
breaking? Are we breaking kayfabe, Piers? Like he did that himself.
I think everybody knows when you show the kayfabe.
Not everyone could beat Royce Chambers. You know, and respect out to Royce because we miss him a lot. Hope he's doing well. But yeah, Kid Valiant's he's got a good story ahead of him with Gore.
Yeah, I think
After
it's
losing the title in 5 minutes to Gore.
But but that's the thing is, like, looking at that now is like that story now has Kid Valiant having held that title and going, I need that fucking belt back. You know what I mean? Like that story now has progressed because of his motivation. And by the time goes on, if he does able to get another shot with that title, it's going to mean so much more.
Well, I mean, Cracker Jack's making it personal now. Sticking a couple of staples in Rochelle Rogue's head. There's a lot of beef between those guys, and can't wait to see what's next. So I'm putting the kayfabe back on. Kayfabe's back on.
You're gonna fade me here. Oh, Jay. But also for you yourself being refereeing, you're starting to get yourself out there a bit more. I had the pleasure of working a couple of shows with you on FWA. For the pink, what was it called? The Pink Obsession Tour. At the Five Dock at where the
old place, not Five Dock.
No, the
old place. Yeah.
How'd you find coming down into Sydney and working in front of the Sydney crowds?
I found it just at the end of the A1. No, it was a good time. There's a lot of really good workers up there. EC Diamond is fantastic. It was good to obviously work with my good friend JXT and Aaron and Tali as well. Good. It's always good to work with your family. And obviously Kid Valiant and Rochelle Rogue up there, and seeing Rochelle get the title, being able to ref Rochelle's first win and getting that title, cashing it in, and getting it was fantastic. And of course, working with you in the announcer and commentary position was super fun as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it definitely was. And that's the major things I love about being, getting to be involved with certain promotions is getting to spend some time with some really great people and also having a lot of fun as well. Because I think that, that's what we get into it for, is because of the love and the passion and the craziness that is professional wrestling. And when you put good people in there as well, it just makes the whole experience more enjoyable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I came away from that just really excited about wrestling. I think we go through times. I don't know if you do it as well. We go through times where we wonder if it's all worth it and all that sort of stuff. And but being able to go up to FWA and just get away from me having to put my promoter's hat on, it was really good to sort of relax. And I know that I was still the guy driving the ring crew truck, but it was good to just kind of relax and just enjoy the day of a show day, instead of being, oh, is this done? Is this done? Is this done? And all that sort of stuff. It was, it was a good time.
I really it was the first time I got to work with you on a show. And one of the things that really stood out to me was the fact that before the show, everyone's getting their matches and stuff together, and you were literally going from group to group, getting details. Hey, is there anything you need from me in this? You know what I mean? Really making sure. And I think that that's one of the things that can be missing sometimes. Like I see it, some shows, some referees that don't do that. And
you see some guys just come up and they're like, okay, what's your finish?
yeah, exactly. Well, not even that. That the referee was just there and to count the pinfall. So
yeah, I know who's going over, so I'm just going to count 3 and that'll be it. I know. Exactly. Maybe that's part of the promoter's hat, to be honest. In that you're trying to make sure that every match flows really well and every match is telling the right story and stuff like that. I was taught my reffing my mentor is Bryce Remsburg from AEW. In 2020, when we were all locked down and even America was, I did some online seminar work with Bryce and some one-on-one stuff. And he said that it's, referees are usually there to be, just seen and not heard. But the best referees are the ones who help produce the matches. And I try to get as much involved as wrestlers will allow me to be. Because obviously, wrestlers are precious about their matches and all that sort of stuff. And it's understandable. They're putting themselves through all this sort of stuff. They're the ones getting CTE, not me.
100%.
But I'm glad to be there as a sounding board. I can look there as an official, but I can also look there as someone who's a promoter, and I can also look there as a wrestling fan as well. Because I don't come from that, the old school wrestling people. I wasn't brought up in the wrestling industry, and I haven't known all these wrestlers and stuff for 10 years or whatever. I'm relatively new when it comes to it. Most of these people have only known me for 2-3 years. I'm from the music industry before this, so as we've talked about before. So maybe getting that kind of fresh perspective, I'm happy to do it, and I hope that it's appreciated and helps the matches, and because that's the main thing, right? That's the main
100%.
thing is making both the people who or the 4 people in a tag match or whoever, making them look good and telling the right story.
Well, it's making them look as best as possible out there, and as you said, telling a good story. What do you think of like referees that and I think Aubrey Edwards gets a lot of heat thrown her way for stealing the spotlight and stuff like that, and to an extent, yeah, I can agree. But if the wrestlers in the ring aren't getting over and the referee's getting over, is that on the referee or is that on the wrestlers?
I think with Aubrey, I think it comes from a point of misogyny to begin with, because I don't think people go after Earl Hebner. I don't think people have gone after Bryce Remsburg. I don't think people have gone after Mike Chioda for that sort of stuff in the past. So I think it comes down to some people's hatred of women being in what they see as a masculine position. If there was more female refs in that role, and we've seen that over the past couple of years, there's Jessica who works for WWE now, and there's a whole bunch actually of female refs at WWE now. I think it comes from a point of misogyny in that respect.
Yeah, sure.
But what you actually say is correct. If the referee is stealing the show from you, why aren't you lifting your game? It's a person who's counting 3, they're counting 10, they're telling you to get off get out of the corners and stuff like that. If they're stealing the show from you, you need to be better. You know what I mean?
100%. And it also can depend on how the crowd is as well. Because I worked a ring announcer on a show, and I got told, okay, we need to sort of delay a little bit, so just keep talking to the crowd. So I was doing that, and I'm like, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, our referee is going to be referee Daniel or whatever it is. And there was one group of people, young guys, sitting in the front row drinking, right? So they're popping for the referee, and every time throughout the night they're popping for him, but everyone else around them wants to be part of the cool people, so they're all starting to pop for the referee.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, the last match, he takes a bump out of the ring, the whole crowd just erupts, and then near the end, as he puts his arm up and crawls up, the whole place just pops, and he gets the pop of the night. And it wasn't anything because of him, it was just because of okay, this is the referee, and these people in the front row just took a liking to him or had too many drinks. It was just okay, now it's on.
Look, take the kayfabe off for a second. Everyone's an actor, right? Everyone's an actor in wrestling.
Performer.
Yeah. Well, you're all acting. The Piers that I see ring announcing is not necessarily the Piers that comes up to me and goes, "Hey Jay, how the fuck you going? You're all right." That sort of the guy that's in the ring, he's wearing his suit and he's, all that sort of stuff. And you're not wearing a suit right now. So that's, that's not you, right? It's the performer you. It's the actor Piers. And it's the same thing with refereeing. And sometimes people take a liking to certain actors. going on the same line of what you're saying there, at the show in Shepparton that we did last month, we have one of our refs, Tom Cullis, amazing upcoming referee, one of the hardest working guys at dmdu in the background, to be honest. He did the main event between Joel Bateman and Campbell Crawford. And he was getting a huge pop because people knew that it was like his first ever death match. It was his first main event, all this sort of stuff. And people sort of popped for Tom, which is fine because the wrestlers who are in there, you've got two wrestlers like Joel and Campbell who are both, they've been around for a while. They knew how to get him involved and they knew how to make that work for them telling the story.
Oh, for sure.
Because crowds are going to focus on what crowds are going to focus on. So you can work with that. A good actor can take that spotlight and maneuver it, manipulate it into what they need to. That's a good actor, and that's a good wrestler, able to adapt to different situations. The worst wrestlers are the ones that do the botches and stuff like that, and then they go back and try and do exactly the same thing, rather than taking the botch, fuck, I guess that didn't work, and then try something completely different, because that's what would happen in real life, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to go and do exactly the same thing. You're going to try something slightly different. Good wrestlers adapt to situations. And I think it's just a way of, I don't know, maybe I'm just new to it and maybe I'm talking shit, but that's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that and see your take on it. And I think that, good wrestlers will see that as an opportunity to go, okay, like this is how we're going to get a crowd reaction. This is how we're going to take it to the next level or give this person a bit of shine. And also the fact is, like, I think Australian wrestling now as well, like the members of the audience can appreciate hard work and can appreciate, people's success, so to speak. And I think that that's why, like, I feel like Australian wrestling in particular, I feel like intergender wrestling works so well here because, like, the fans of Australian wrestling, the fans of this our amazing product, can sit there and appreciate good wrestling. No matter, like, wrestling's wrestling. It doesn't matter who's
correct
in there, right?
As and we've had this discussion before. I don't believe in intergender wrestling. I believe in wrestling. I think it goes back to, once again, good wrestlers getting the situation over. They're in a position. It's a consensual situation. No one's being dragged out to the ring, but also with crowds, I think we've maybe in the past, wrestling in the ring kind of took advantage of the fact that crowds didn't have dirt sheets. They weren't smart in that respect. They didn't know the whole thing. You got, young kids in there who don't know whether it's real or fake, or they think it's real. And I think fans aren't idiots. They know how it's all put together. And I think that I think that we shouldn't be treating them as if they're idiots. I think good product doesn't have that kind of ignorance towards their crowd. I think that was something that was quite fun about those later years WCW Vince Russo kind of stuff, was the kind of wink to the fourth wall. That's not on my run sheet, all that sort of stuff. Like, I love that sort of stuff because I was like, they're not treating the crowds as fools.
Yeah. And I think that that's, like, knowing Vince Russo, like, that's kind of like his thing is always like respecting his audience or respecting what he's putting out. And that's why his stuff was, like, I think, so successful for that time. Like, you look back of like that sort of time frame in the, like, early 2000s, late 90s, where everything is like tongue in cheek, shock, it's completely different, right? But if you go 20 years before that in the 80s and you go watch Kingswood Country and hear, like, a guy who's like a 50-year-old Aussie guy at the time, dropping racial slurs against his son-in-law, which would be like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just as more, what the fuck, like, as you look back at it now, where it's,
I think all things evolve. Television has evolved. The things that are popular on TV now wouldn't have been popular 20 years ago. Breaking Bad Better Call Saul, whatever, wouldn't have been popular 20 years ago. And then 40 years ago, you wouldn't have had something like Survivor be popular. Everything evolves, and wrestling has needed to evolve as well. Like, I know that there's been some fans and wrestlers and promoters that have had to be dragged kicking and screaming into that evolution, so to speak. But I think it's for the best. I think presenting an outdated product, you're going to lose the respect of the audience. It's one thing to be, okay, this is a kind of retro, it's sort of nostalgic sort of thing, like NWA do with Power, right?
Yeah.
Which I loved that presentation. That was so much fun to watch. But they were also banking on the fact that the crowd's so smart that they know that it's, a little bit of a piss take towards the, the old championship wrestling, Memphis championship wrestling from years ago,
Yeah.
It's as you said, respecting the crowd.
But I think as well, like, you look at someone like Jim Cornette and take his views on wrestling, and he's the sort of guy, if it's not 1975 Memphis Coliseum or whatever the fuck it is, he's going to shit on it. That's just, and I think he's even built an audience that want to hear him shit on wrestling. And which is great. If you make money at doing that, keeping yourself relevant, fine, go for you. But in reality, like, you can't be so closed-minded and judgmental. And I think in pro wrestling, as I said, it's so subjective. It is so subjective.
But it's like all art is subjective. Like, I constantly have this argument with my wife about, postmodern architecture and things like that, which I absolutely love postmodern architecture. She thinks it's fucking awful. And she would much prefer to look at the Art Deco stuff from the 20s and 30s. Art is subjective. And it's the same with wrestling. Wrestling's a performance art. So, some things work for people, some things don't work for people. And I think that ultimately we just kind of have to be kinder to each other when it comes to that sort of stuff. Because if we're constantly shitting on, this is shit, or this is great, or this is, that tribalism of stuff. Like, I see it all the time online between AEW people and WWE people. It's just so shit. Wrestling is wrestling. You might like this, you might like that. Someone's enjoying the same sport that you enjoy. They might be enjoying a different one, but that doesn't mean that you should shit on that.
And it's funny because I did a post or something and I said, like, I'm not a fan of AEW. I don't enjoy the product, which is fair enough.
How dare
exactly,
you?
Right? And then I got attacked going, why don't you like AEW? And I was like, okay, here's my reasons. And I gave a couple of reasons and I thought, that's enough. What do you mean? And I'm just like, oh, well, I'm arguing with the person that used to sniff the glue in high school.
It's really interesting, that level of tribalism. I saw, Kat Dennings, the girl from Two Broke Girls, and she said, oh, I guess I love WWE now. She was at SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
And I saw her post about that. And my thing is, fucking fantastic. Welcome to wrestling. Like, awesome. But of course, 3 down, you've got watch AEW, it's better. You see that shit all the time on AEW stuff as well. It's just such shit tribalism. And yeah, it happens a lot in the world, right down to politics. People cheer for the Trump side. People cheer for the Democrats. People cheer for the Liberal Party. People cheer for the Labor Party. And if it's not that, then it's absolute bullshit and, crap. And it's just so dumb. And it makes no sense.
But the thing is, it was even dumber is the people that sit there and just argue back and forth. And it's like you're arguing with a brick wall. If you're trying to like get your point across to someone who doesn't believe in your point, and they have a point which is completely opposite to yours, you're arguing against the brick wall, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no point arguing with people like that, because they're never going to change their mind. And if they do change their mind, they're going to come to it themselves as if it's some massive, huge idea that they've had. And honestly, the only person it's harming is you and your mental health by arguing with people. I get this all the time as a trans non-binary person. I constantly see people in stupid Facebook comments or Twitter comments, denying my right to exist as a person. And, it gets you down from time to time. But ultimately, you're, by arguing with people like that, you're only going to hurt yourself, because they're at the other end of a keyboard. They're at the other end of a screen. You're probably never going to meet up with them. You're never going to see them in real life. But it is very difficult to get to that other side when it comes to something like that. But that's a very extreme response to it. But it just
also,
doesn't.
But those kind of people that say those comments, they should mean nothing, because you don't care about, like, they're nothing to, like, these people are nothing to you in the grand scheme of things. And I know it's easier said than done. Like,
it is, but also we live in a world where money talks and clicks talk, and that means that stories about trans people, about LGBT people, like we've had over the past week. We were talking about it before with the Manly Sea Eagles, with their Pride Round jumper. All of those things generate two sides of the coin. They generate hate clicks of people who disagree with it, and they think that gay people should be burned at the stake and stuff like that. And the other side of hate clicks, which is, there's going to be people there who think that way, who think that gay people should be burned at the stake, and I want to argue with them. And the media are very complicit in that, because the more outrage, the more clicks, the more engagement, the higher it's seen in the Facebook or Twitter algorithm. And that's how we end up with, what happened in 2016 in the US, right? End up with a meme in office.
But that's the thing. It's like, one of the things that I love about DMDU, and shout out to the Buccaneer tuning in.
Hey, Bucky. Sorry, yes, let's get back to wrestling. Yes, let's get back to wrestling.
But no, like, one of the things that I've really appreciated about DMDU, and we talk about everything in anything, that.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I do.
DMDU has definitely been one of the most progressive companies that I've seen, and as far as acceptance, welcoming, crowd management as well. How has that been? Putting on a specific product, like what you guys do, which is incredible. Have you had any people that have tried to sort of, like fans turning up and getting, whether it be chants going or just causing problems that go against the values of Deathmatch Down Under?
I think we did a couple of times at the start, but generally, fans are pretty aware of what they're coming for. We have, after our welcome to country, we have our announcers, our ring announcers, tell people that, there's no tolerance. You won't get a refund if you're kicked out. You say any homophobic, transphobic, sexist, racist shit, you're out on your ass. You're not getting a refund, and no communication will be entered into. I haven't seen it be so much of a problem over the past, say, 12 months. I think the first few shows, I think people were still finding their feet with who we are as a company. And, I think there's other companies that you can go to if you want to do that. And I don't like the idea of like a safe space or anything like that. Like, I don't like the concept of safe spaces. I just want everyone to feel like they can come and have a good time, have a few drinks, watch some awesome wrestling, then leave, and their life is not ruined. Their feelings aren't ruined outside of, heelish people like Damian Rivers, traitorously turning against DMDU at the war games, things like that. But that's just the product. Yeah, I'm rambling a little bit, but
no, you're fine.
I'm very happy when I have our shows and I see a real melting pot of people in the audience. We have a lot of trans, non-binary people who attend our shows, and they say that they feel comfortable here when they wouldn't feel comfortable otherwise. So yeah, it's we're lucky to have the fans that we do, and I hope that they feel comfortable at the events. And we try to sort of, as I said, just what's the word? Cultivate that kind of production that people will feel comfortable at.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you guys, or everyone's done an amazing job there. And it's been a massive group effort what everyone's done there. And like I said, I've become a massive supporter of your brand. I think it's great. I think it's welcoming to fans. I think you're bringing some amazing matches as well. And that's the thing as well, because like a lot of promotions, and I think Australia, because we're such a small country and like wrestling is such a small niche, we do see performers going to a lot like different companies, which is great. One of the things I like about DMDU is the matches that you are bringing these performers in for. You're giving matches that the fans haven't necessarily seen elsewhere before.
Yep. I think we've looked at that when it comes to anyone who's coming in. We've obviously don't want to run back what other companies have done. We want to do our own thing. The no gender side of wrestling is part of that, where many other wrestling companies just do women against women and men against men. Although that is changing now, which is really, really good. I hope that we offer people something different. That's what everyone wants, right? It's just, if you like what we do, please come to our shows and please enjoy yourselves. If you like what other companies do, go and do that. I don't, this goes back to the tribalism side of it. Go to all the wrestling. Man, there's so much wrestling in Melbourne at the moment. So much good wrestling in Melbourne at the moment. People are spoiled for choice.
Yeah.
MCW are great. That the Ballroom Brawl recently is fantastic. Renegades are going from strength to strength. Even down in Seaford, APW, they've got some of the most fun matches I've seen recently. We're really lucky here in Victoria.
I think, Victoria's got some amazing talent and amazing companies. Like Renegades of Wrestling is another company. It's just sort of like started up, and it's the following it's got is unbelievable. Yeah, and I think that just goes to the sentiment of how strong that the Melbourne scene is.
Yeah, it's they use a lot of, as well as they've got their Melbourne talent and stuff like that, they use a lot of really good interstate talent as well. People like Shazza McKenzie, Delta, people who are fantastic wrestlers. And I hope that those wrestlers get way more exposure and, get to achieve dreams. People like Shazza McKenzie who go over to America and have such amazing experiences over there. I hope that all of these people like Delta, like Rochelle Rogue, I hope that all of these people can go over and have those amazing experiences. And I hope that, our little scene here in Melbourne, whether it be us or Renegades or MCW or APW or or Mayhem even, like give them the opportunity to raise their profile enough to be able to go over to the US.
And I think that's been the best thing as far as like IWTV, Fight TV, being able to be put on such an international platform to be able to grow that base. The relationship with DMDU and IWTV, like, how did that come to be and get started?
It's one of those things where, you never know if you don't email. So we emailed as we were putting the things together. We emailed and we said, hey, this is what we're looking at doing. You guys interested in hosting our stuff? They sent back, absolutely. We don't have any Australian companies at the moment. I think PWA had moved from IWTV across to Fight just recently. And I think that there's a whole bunch of others that kind of do their own thing on Fight as well, or have their own, like MCW have their own, platform, and so do Renegades. So they were happy to have another Australian company to put over on their site. And we've gone from strength to strength. I'm really excited, actually, because I've been looking at the viewing numbers and they've just slowly been going up like that. And then, Joel Bateman goes over and wins every title that he's able to find, and suddenly the viewership spikes because they want to see that guy get his head cut open again and again. Yeah, we've been really lucky, and I'm really thankful for the people who are tuning in. And, even around Australia, like, there's a lot of people who watch things on IWTV and people who can't come down to Melbourne for a show, especially last year when we couldn't really open borders to New South Wales or Queensland and stuff like that. It was good to be able to say to those people, hey, we've got a new product. Please come and have a look. And then once borders open, travel down and come and see it live, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that's one of the things I really want to go and check out is a DMDU show live. I've never missed a show of what DMDU has put out on IWTV, and some of the shows I've actually watched a couple of times because they've been that good.
We've had a few really good main events, and there's a few bangers that have been unlikely bangers in between all the other stuff that we do. I'm really excited by, at the moment, we've got Matt Hayter and Tali sort of in a little thing where Tali's trying to get a date out of Matt Hayter, and, just fun comedy stuff like that. But at the same time, you've also got, as we discussed before, Gore's defending his heavyweight title at the moment, and there is one Kid Valiant who is not happy about that.
Oh, absolutely. Yourself now coming down and refereeing at FWA, is that more a goal now for yourself to start reffing other places and getting your profile out there a bit more as a referee?
Not really. I don't really care about profile. First of all, I could do without that sort of stuff. I'm happy to come to FWA because it's a different experience. If any other companies want to have me across and they want to, me to be able to come in and ref, that would be fantastic, because I think that you're always learning, right?
Yeah.
And every wrestling company is different, and anything that I can go into and learn from is, it's better for DMDU. And hopefully I can meet some new wrestlers that I wouldn't have seen before, and be able to, bring them down to DMDU as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as I said, help make some good stories.
Oh, absolutely. What did you, how did you find your time in Sydney though? Like, as far as like being able to just turn up at a show and be a referee and, driving the ring truck, did you find it like more enjoyable as far as the factors, like you didn't have that extra added pressure?
Outside of driving the ring truck, I loved it.
You weren't a fan of the ring truck?
I was the last one at the ring truck, and me and Fivey, who runs FWA, me and Fivey were in the truck, and then we got it bogged in a paddock.
Well, interesting enough, Fivey rang me at 1 a.m. that Saturday night. As I got home, I literally walked in, and he's like, "Hey, brother, the ring truck's bogged," and I'm like, "Oh shit." Okay, have you got any planks of wood? What I suggest is like, can you come and help me? And I'm like, I just walked in like after driving an hour and a half home, dude.
Yeah, I think we ended up abandoning it until the next morning. I sort of said to him, "Hey, I'm going to be on a flight at 7 o'clock with a couple of my people who are flying back to Melbourne, but sorry, dude."
I felt so bad. I was like, I thought everything was done. That's why I was like, all right, I'm done.
I
Even
mean, it was
Bucky,
raining and putting everything into the bit, but yeah, that was fun. Good to see Bucky in there. You know, he feels bad, but he's glad he didn't get bogged with us. So he doesn't feel bad at all. That's what that tells me. Classic Bucky, right? Yeah, look, that was just an ending to. It was a fun weekend. Got to hang out with a few people that I don't normally get to hang out with. Savannah Summers from Adelaide, particularly, was
She's
really
great.
good. Yeah, she's fantastic. It was really good, driving with her. Always love hanging out with JXT, one of my favorite human beings in the wrestling scene. Tali, obviously, family. We get on like a house on fire. Fivey was nice enough to bring my wife up. So it was nice to get away from the kids for a little bit, which I'm sure I don't need to tell you twice. That's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I really love that that scene up there. I think PWA are incredible. FWA, they've got some really good talent in there. Even up Nui Pro, there's some great talent up there as well. Sydney's in good hands.
I think so. I think so. I think the whole of Australian wrestling is in pretty good hands, though. And I think there's a lot of, and as I said, I'm going to put over the people as much as possible because I think there's a lot of really cool people involved.
There's some really good wrestling promotions out there. New Horizons Pro Wrestling in Western Australia, particularly. I love what they do. A lot of their stuff was a bit of an inspiration to us when we were first starting. Some of the stuff they did with the Culture City bags for people with autism and stuff like that was fantastic, and we liaised with them a lot in the early day, but they put out a fantastic product. I love Riot City Wrestling and Wrestle Rampage in Adelaide. I think PWA are fantastic. And there's pro wrestling up in Queensland that's fantastic as well. Guys like Rip Riley or Bobby Bishop or Lucille Brawl or Outback Adam.
Yeah, Outback Adam. He seems like such a fun character.
Dude, we had him down for a show, and he is just one of those people that I'm saying, like, they're the people I'm going to put my flag to. They're going to be the future of Australian wrestling. Fantastic character wrestler, really good in the ring, really great ideas about what he wants to do. Another person who's just going to go from strength to strength. And the same with Bobby Bishop and Lucille Brawl as well. Just fantastic people.
Yeah. And I find Queensland wrestling doesn't really necessarily get a lot of love. Like we hear from Melbourne, we hear from Adelaide, we hear from WA, we hear from Sydney, Newcastle, but we don't really hear a lot from promotions coming out of Queensland.
I think they're the same in Tasmania, where they seem to be really disconnected from the rest of the country. And I don't know why. I hope there's something we can do in the future about getting those, 3-count academy and stuff like that, getting those people a lot more noticed around the country. I hope that we can do a lot of business with those guys. I think 3-count academy up there is fantastic. Little organization. I think there's a lot of really good wrestlers coming out of there. And yeah, I think it's just a case of just not being able to be seen. No one's talking to them, and they're disconnected from it. I guess like Queensland already is a bit of an island to itself, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And dude, I was, Twitter.
Dude, it's fine. Let's talk this.
Can we please? Because every time I have a conversation, I never want to offend anyone, and especially you, because you're a friend of mine. Yeah. So I'm always trying to but I'm old school, so I'll say things like dude, bro, mate. Yeah. What is acceptable and what's not?
Well, acceptable is in the agency of the person who you're saying it to. They'll tell you what's acceptable. Dude is fine. Dude is agender. Dude relates to a dude ranch, back in the old days of the Wild West. It's just a different thing. I don't have a problem with it. Man and bro, especially within the wrestling scene tends to be a bit problematic for me. But mostly I just, mate is fine by me. Jay, you idiot over there. That was 3 ref. I've been called that a lot.
What do you mean that was?
That was 3 ref. It's. I think that we can get caught up in trying to make sure that no one gets offended and stuff like that. But I think all it does is we have to take a step back and think before we talk. And so, dude and mate and Jay, and that was 3 ref. I have absolutely no problem with those.
Well, there you go. Thank you for clearing that up.
I appreciate it because I could see you when you said dude, and then I could see your brain go, nah.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, I'm an old school person. So, but in saying that, I'm an old school person with I don't know. I got values. I like people to feel comfortable. I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable, no matter if I'm doing a podcast or just having a conversation, because I think it just means being a good person. And I think people throw out the term like woke as being that. And I think if being a good person and treating people with respect is woke, then okay, fuck, I'm woke.
Sign me up.
Sign
me the fuck
for
up.
It now.
Yeah, I people who use that or the word cancelled and stuff like that, you tend to be someone who doesn't understand the concept of it, and maybe just treating people with respect. Maybe that's all it just comes down to. As I said earlier, we just need to be kinder to each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a really hard concept to really come across, but
apparently it is.
But I find even because I've started doing lives on my TikTok thing, and I had someone.
Look at you, TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't even know what TikTok is apart from something that a clock does.
But anyway, I go live on TikTok, and one of the regular questions I get started by anyone who joins my lives for the first time, and it's happened a couple times. What are your pronouns? And I was like, why do? And I asked, I said, why do people come and ask that? What's the reason? And the person responded, well, I just want to be respectful. You seem like a really nice person. I don't want to offend you. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's such a sweet thing to okay, cool. I was like, all right, I get it. That's a respectful way to start a conversation with someone, really.
And I hope that sort of thing continues, because it is, as you said, it's all about respect throughout wrestling scene or outside of the wrestling scene. I think the respect that you give out is the respect that you get back from people. And I think that we should all be a lot better in regards to that. I know that I haven't been the most respectful person in the past, and I think that I'm once again always be learning, right? And I'm constantly learning and trying to be a better person all the time. I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. And about those mistakes is what we learn from it, and how we grow as a person in the future.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, and I think that's the thing. You have to be able to learn, and if we go back 20 years and the things that were happening back then, there'll be so many different people that would be held accountable for. And I think everyone has made mistakes. Everyone has said things at times which are not very nice things to say to certain people. And people, as long as you regret that, you learn from that and you evolve from that, I think that you shouldn't be crucified for life because of it.
Oh, 100%. Unless it's something seriously morally bad.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Criminal and stuff like that. I think that everyone should have the opportunity to learn and grow. I don't think anyone's truly done outside of those things that we've mentioned. I think that if you prove to yourself and to those around you that you are growing as a person and being better, then I don't see any reason why that should hang over you. There's people I don't want to bring up that name, but Joey Ryan, right?
Yeah.
People who the speaking out, situation came after him, rightfully. he could have come out after that and gone, you know what? I've done some terrible fucking things. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to go and do this and do that, specifically say the things that he's going to do. And I'm going to come back a better person. Maybe it's not going to be wrestling, but I'm going to come back a better person. Instead, he just doubled down on it and, you know, persona non grata. And, you know, he deserves it. I think, yeah, we've all got an opportunity to grow, and we absolutely should all take that opportunity to grow as people. I've had it even recently. I've had it, which is why I'm not on Twitter anymore. I've had that opportunity to grow as a person. I made a mistake and have learned from it, and have, you know, put myself through things to try and become a better person as a result of it.
Yeah. And I think as well, Twitter can be such a toxic place as well. Like
it can be, but, you know, sometimes we add to the toxicity by the things that we say. And, you know, I made a mistake when I tweeted out something, and yeah, I've learned from that. Number one was leaving Twitter, so I had less opportunity to say dumb shit. Number two was actually learning from it. And, you know, I went and I did a 2-week course with the Special Broadcasting System, or service in this country, SBS, in regards to being better in terms of tolerance, racial tolerance, because I accidentally dropped a certain word in a different context. But I went and learned from that, and I won't make that mistake again. But these are the options. These are the opportunities that we are given.
Yeah. Oh, and 100%. And I think that's if you can learn from it and take it on board and have that remorse, I think that absolutely, like, you know, people should be able to be forgiven. I mean, like I said, not, you know, everyone out there has some form of skeleton in their closet.
Yeah. Look, I took myself out of dmdu for a little bit of time to reflect on it. And you know me quite well. dmdu is my life. I literally took myself out of the online group chats with the other members of management. I wasn't involved in our show in Geelong that we had that month. I wasn't involved in the booking of it. I wasn't involved in anything that happened with regards to it. And I went and, as I said, I took that course on, on tolerance, and it was a great course. Fantastic. I recommend it for anyone. But it's enabled me to sit back and look at myself and how I react to things online. And I've been able to, you know, I stay off Twitter now because it's not worth, you know, the toxicity that goes around that sort of social media. I'm barely on Facebook these days. I like Instagram though, because I like posting, you know, dumb photos of crocodiles, or, you know, pictures of my wife, or, you know, pictures of myself with a really nice fit on, all that sort of stuff. As I said to you just before, I don't understand TikTok. No one will ever be able to get that through to me what that is. I am turning 40 this month, so clearly there's an end date when it comes to that. You know, if you are not this tall, you cannot ride the roller coaster sort of situation. But yeah, I've learnt a lot throughout being with DMDU in that respect, and especially over the last few months.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And how was the DMDU, you know, crew when you said, "Hey, I need to sort of take some time away"? Were they understanding? Were they like, "Come on, Jay, we need you"? Like, was like, "No, you need to take this time for yourself"? Because I can imagine that everyone there is pretty supportive.
Oh, 100%. 100% supportive and understanding. Disappointed, I think they were at the definitely at the start of it, and understandably so. But as I said, once they all saw me taking those steps to better myself and to learn from my mistakes, I think they understood where I'm coming from now. And yeah, we move on and hopefully, you know, not hopefully, but we move on and we don't make those mistakes again, and we start a new chapter.
Yeah.
I mean, very supportive people, the rest of management, and even the, you know, the normal day-to-day staff when it comes to DMTU. very, very supportive people, and I don't think I would have properly come out the other side without them.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, it's a reminder for everyone that we're all just human beings, and sometimes we're just being human, and we say things that we don't mean, and we do things that are silly sometimes. And I think that, learn from it. And
sometimes we're just dumb idiots.
Yeah.
Dumb idiot skin sacks.
Yeah. But that's the thing, but as long as you can now like let it go and go, you know what, I've learned from it. Anyone now that comes at me sideways about this, you know what I mean? Like, obviously their opinion, now is like, well, what more can you do? Like, you're never going to appease certain people, and that's okay. And you have to understand that.
Yeah. I try not to think about it like that, because I think that's more a defensive attitude than, owning what I did wrong.
Sure.
If people have got something to say about that, that's their right to have an opinion. And hopefully I can show them or other people that I have learned from my mistakes moving forward.
Yeah. And I think that that's the best that you can, anyone can ask for.
Actions speak louder than words. You know that. It's what we teach our kids. It's one thing to say sorry, and it's another thing to be sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that you see that in people's actions as well. You know that those who are genuine about their feelings and about their apologies, as opposed to the people that just sort of, oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, wink, wink. Yeah. I'm sorry that you were offended. That sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that is the worst apology you can ever say to someone. Like, I'm sorry you were offending. I'm sorry I offended you.
Offense. Yeah, politician's apology. Terrible.
Oh, exactly. But what's coming up with DMDU? What shows have you all got coming up?
Well, it is the second annual Dream Tournament. Death rules everything around me. It's a deathmatch tournament. And 13 entrants. Here's me putting on you see how the voice changed the moment I put the promoter's hat on? Suddenly I'm doing a radio interview. Yeah, we've got Dream just at the end of this month. A fantastic lineup of 13 amazing humans coming in, vying for that crown of being the Australian Deathmatch champion, including Jimmy Lloyd from GCW.
Jimmy fucking Lloyd.
Jimmy fucking Lloyd. We've got some of our own guys. Obviously, Callum Butcher, the current champ, is in there, and he'll be defending every match. He'll be defending. Joel Bateman, current ICW no holds barred American, can we say world deathmatch champion. Damian Rivers, that asshole that turned on DMDU at the EMU War Games, along with the ADMP. We've got a couple of new faces too. Like, we have Campbell Crawford, previously known as Atlas Whitaker, coming in. Jordan Sampson, who's a great MMA fighter, who's coming in for the deathmatch tournament. Michelle Hasluck from Western Australia coming in. And Rugged Vic Craig from New Zealand as well.
Oh, we're bringing in the Kiwi.
He's the wildcard entrant. So,
wow.
Yeah, we'll see how that all rolls down. It's a stacked entrance, stacked amount of people.
Me and my wife have been saying for the longest time we need to come down to Melbourne for a weekend, and I reckon I'm gonna try and just tee it up and buy like, hey, we're gonna go to a wrestling show one of those nights. We're gonna go see deathmatch wrestling.
I guarantee you, it's an earlier show, so it starts earlier in the day, which means it finishes earlier in the day, which means we can go out and have fun afterwards. And it's my 40th birthday that weekend as well. So, what are you waiting for?
You know what? I'm going to drop the conversation with the wife tomorrow and see what we can come up with and get it done.
Webjet, Afterpay on flights, Piers. Afterpay on flights.
You're a bad influence, Jay.
I am a bad influence.
Are you coming back to Sydney anytime soon?
Hopefully, I've been talking with Fivey about coming up for November. I really want to come back, and it's just been really, really busy in terms of, coming back to dmdu and stuff like that. So I wasn't able to make, the next FWA show. Hopefully I can come in November and come and hang out again. Give you a tickle on the back of the head while you're in the ring.
That was great. There are actually a couple of good photos of us from that show that I got sent. So I'll have to send them your way.
It was a good time. Good time.
Absolutely. But it is that time of the show, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody, to play 60 Seconds with Piers. So how this game works, if you're tuning in for the first time, I'm going to fire a bunch of questions at Jay. Jay's got 60 seconds to answer as many as they can until the time runs out. Jay, are you ready to get the game started?
Do you know I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire once?
Really?
This is going to be fantastic. Yeah.
I got to check that out. Okay. We'll start it out. Name a gross meal combination that you like that no one else does.
Honey on celery.
If you could ask Vince McMahon one question, what would it be?
Tell us all about everything that you've done.
Home barbecues or nightclubs?
Home barbecues.
If you could only eat one meal type for a week, what would you choose?
Thai food.
Plain fairy bread or fairy bread with Nutella?
Plain fairy bread. What sort of question is this? Jesus.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Intolerance.
Aliens, real or fake?
Real.
What game show would you be great at? I feel like you answered that already.
No, I wasn't that good on that one, but The Chase, I was quite good on The Chase. I've been on like 3 in my lifetime, 3 or 4.
What is your go-to song at karaoke?
Mustang Sally by The Commitments or something by Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Very nice. Would you rather own your own boat or own your own plane?
Plane.
What did you get in trouble for most as a child?
Being an arsehole.
And last one, in 5 minutes' time, you were being shipped to outer space. What 2 personal belongings do you take with you, excluding human beings?
One of my cats. Got around it.
Oh. I'll allow it.
And my guitar.
Nice. That has been 60 Seconds with Piers with Jay Stevens. Thank you very much, Jay, for being a guest on Shooting the Shit Uncensored again. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
It really is always good to talk to you, mate. And I'm glad to come back again and looking forward to seeing you at the end of this month.
Yeah, sounds great. Where can people follow you, and where can people follow and support DMDU?
Follow DMDU, DM Down Under on Twitter, Deathmatch Down Under on Instagram, Deathmatch Down Under on Facebook, and don't follow me.
There you go. Guys, huge shout out to our sponsor, sleeps.com. Go and check them out. Use promo code MWAPOD. Also, I've got a couple more interviews coming up this week. On Friday night, 11 p.m. our time, which will be 9 a.m. Friday morning in the US, I'm sitting down with Ernest the Cat Miller from WCW. Make sure you tune in for that. And then the following night, I'm sitting down with Wolfie D, who was part of PG-13 in the WWF Attitude Era with the Nation of Domination. So make sure you tune in for those. And we'll see you guys again very, very soon. Take care. All the best. Peace!